Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a guide for Charlemagne's Chivalrous Montjoie. This is the Chaldea Boys event for 2026, and as per usual, we get a set of gacha CEs and a ticket to pick one of them. Realistically, you're choosing between B or D for its combination of Invuln Pierce, Quick, and Buster buffs, or Capricious, which has arts and P damage and defense ignore. For what it's worth, I consider ignoring defense to be the higher priority, since for Invuln Pierce, Sweet Crystal is available year-round in the Remembressence shop, though it does cost rare prisms. For all you collectors out there, all the gacha CEs from this event are voiced, and I must say, that C got me acting unwise. Starting on the morning of March 7th, every day when you log in, Charlemagne shows up to give you some stuff. Bond teapots and summon tickets. When you do this the 8th time, you get the command code King's Radiant Sword, which gives crit damage versus evil-aligned enemies. So make sure you don't break your login streak during this event. The main event itself is a story and free quest style endeavor with some time gates to stop you from blowing through it all on day 1. Nothing complicated in that department. The event shop has, on top of the usual loot, 2 items of note. The first is Charlemagne's costume, which makes him look like a paperboy. No word on Rex Magnus, sorry to say. The second, which I believe gets added after you complete the main story, is a 4-star Stardom CE, which gives between 10 and 12 stars depending on whether you limit break it. While you normally pick 5-star dumb CEs like Golden Catches the Carp, 4-star alternatives can be tactically useful when party cost is tight, so I'd say it's worth grabbing. Charlemagne and Bradamante also get upgrade quests alongside this event's release. Bradamante gets a direct buff to our Noble Phantasm that also adds 3 turns of ramping crit damage. Charlemagne gets an indirect buff to his NP. Now his first skill lets him gain stacks while attacking instead of just taking attacks, so he can be more proactive. Pretty nice. I wouldn't hard roll either of these servants, but they did get stronger. The 90++ farming node features a 1-3-1 Lancer arrangement with Elizabeth Bathory as the boss, possibly a reference to how Charlemagne could censor Astolfo-ness. I came up with 2 teams to do this fight. The first is a 5-slot with Chen Gong, equipped with Black Grail. As you've been seeing, this gets the job done, as expected for Mr. One-Size-Fits-All. The second team is a 6-slot with Charlemagne and Kriemhild, quite a bit more expensive in the specialized servant department. But if you went heavy on the gacha banish for this event, you may have the means to run it. Now let's deal with the challenge quest. This is a 5-enemy encounter with each opponent having a break bar. Until you break that bar, they won't use their Noble Phantasm. Yang Guifei will last the longest of the initial 3 enemies since she gets huge damage resistance buffs from Don Quixote and Charlemagne. She's also a charge and debuff cleansing engine for her team while she's on the field, so you shouldn't rely on debuff heavy servants for this encounter. On break, she becomes fully debuff immune. Charlemagne purges multiple buffs when he crits you, so getting rid of him should be your top priority. He also makes Don Quixote harder to kill while he's around. On break, he gains crit and buster buffs. Don Quixote has a reactive effect. When he's struck by a Noble Phantasm, he halves their attack for multiple turns. He also buffs Charlie with crit chance while he's alive. On break, he gains 3 stacks of guts and enmity-based damage, so the lower his health gets, the more damage he does. In the backline are Roland and Astolfo. Roland is a very dangerous on-hit effect that skills your Noble Phantasm, but decreases his own party's health. He gets bonus damage while Yang is alive, and if Charlemagne is somehow on the field when he shows up, Charlie gets a permanent taunt. Evidently, he doesn't like Don Quixote very much, because he gets a defense reduction. On break, he cripples your defense and NP gain, so try to keep a Castoria NP handy to cleanse these effects off. As for Astolfo, he gets quick performance and continuously heals both Don Quixote and Charlemagne. On break, he gets a strange effect. When he doesn't have his evasion up, he charges rapidly but loses almost all of his NP damage. So it's in your interest to pop his evade whenever he uses it, so he wastes turns doing no damage. I'd recommend leading with an AoE arts attacker for this fight. I went with Summer Melusine, since Yang presents a problem for Berserker leads, though you could probably brute force most of the fight with a Zerk if you really wanted to. Summer Musashi can dumpster both Charlemagne and Roland, so she's a tempting alternative. But the important part is that you maintain ways to cleanse off all the debuffs coming your way. The most reliable method is to chain Castoria's Noble Phantasm behind your main attacker's NP. This way you shrug off Don Quixote's attack debuff for your follow-up card and your next turn's play. The Atlas uniform gives you a one-off cleanse, though I'd recommend saving this for Roland's NP seal. Lastly, be sure to give your main attacker cleansing command codes. These are especially useful early in the fight, when DQ's attack reduction is your only real concern. Also, as you may have figured out, the Immortal team has potential issues here, due to Charlie's on-crit purge and Roland's NP seal. You can luck your way past both of these problems, but you may have consistency issues. Finally, if your kill turns go long, be aware that the roster of enemies periodically rotates, and one of the backliners may jump you. Supposedly, this happens every 4 turns, though I don't believe I encountered this on my run. Call that Smellu speed. Thanks for watching, lads. I got my Chaos Wheel on Friday, an end of the month special on Saturday, and a stream for this very event on Sunday. Twitch.tv/Finotaisen. I start at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I believe this is also the last week for Richard the Lionheart's early banner rotation. I recently put out a servant guide for him that clocked in at nearly 30 minutes because of the history segment. Pretty much wrecked my February plans too, the bastard. But with all that said, I'll see you next time.